Hello, little garden gnome. How are you, Holly? Nice to see you. Holly doesn't really bark much or speak on command or anything, but she sure is sweet. And she does wag her tail. She's just out here cooling on the concrete because it's a hot day out. But I want to introduce you to some seed saving videos. This is the first in a series I'll do about seed saving. It's August 28th in Zone 6B, Northwestern Virginia. And so now is the time that I begin to harvest early seed. And today we're going to look at the Canna Lily, which is this beautiful tropical plant right here. Now, the name belies its actual status. It is in no way related to lilies at all, which means that even though some lilies are dangerous to pets, this is not. Not only is it not dangerous at all to pets, but every part of the plant is edible. The flower petals are edible. They don't have any flavor or fragrance. They're just plain. But you could, if you're ever starving and you see a canna lily, you can dig in and have a meal. The leaves are edible, and the rhizomes under the ground are edible. In fact, this plant also goes by other names like Canna indica and African arrowroot. And for people into cooking, you might recognize the name of arrowroot as a thickener. This is not the particular plant where culinary arrowroot comes from, but the rhizomes function the same way that arrowroot would. Same as potatoes and other types of tubers and rhizomes. They have starch. It's a high starch content. So again, you could dig this up, wash it off, and eat it if you ever needed, you know, some bulking up and you're missing food. If you're out foraging in a tropical climate, you can look for these and eat them. Or if you're able to grow them and at the end of a few seasons you want to divide your tubers out to give them more space to grow more healthy, then you could keep half of them and replant after you divide them. And then take the rest inside, peel them, slice them, boil them, mash them, bake them, roast them. When you eat them raw, which is no problem, because like I said, every part of the plant is safe to eat. When you eat it raw, it'll have some bitterness to it, but once you start to cook it, the bitterness goes away, and what it'll end up with is a tuber that takes on a lot of the characteristics of maybe a water chestnut or a potato. Now, I'm going to show you what the plant looks like as it's aging. So this is a new growth. This is the blooms in full bloom. And they grow on long, straight stalks, you see, with these beautiful, edible, tropical leaves. And then when the petals fall off, you get this. You get the base of the petal where the seed pod is, and it is a very small, firm, light green, spiky pod. It's not sharp, it just has this rough edge. As that develops, it'll actually develop something like a fir here, and they'll get bigger. This is a pod that's been developing for a while, so it's nice and full, and it's beginning to turn from green to brown. When it's fully mature, it will lose its spiky texture. That'll all just crumble off. Let me see if I can find one for you that still has a little bit on. There's one. See how that still has that little spiky texture? And what you'll get is the skin underneath, and then it will begin to crack open and you'll see the seed inside. Let me show you this another way. So this is a seed pod where the flower recently fell. It's still very firm. You can't crack it, but it can peel it. And inside is this very light color. It's like a very pale green, almost whitish. That is going to be a mature seed, but not yet. Then after it's aged a little bit, the the flaky stuff begins to fall off and the seed inside is maturing, it's becoming firmer, and it's taking on some color. So it goes from greenish white to light brown. When it finally dries, it comes out almost black. A very, very dark chocolate mocha brown. That is the seed you want to save. Before I go, I want to take you over here to show you the activity of the bumblebees, because in between two patches of canna lilies, I have a patch of obedience plants. Wasps, bumblebees, and this is just getting started. 2-3 weeks from now, these blooms will be fully formed, and this little patch will be humming so loudly. Isn't that beautiful? They're beautiful little purple blooms on these spiky towers. This is another perennial in my area, and it's just gorgeous. So anyway, I hope you'll try saving seeds this year from a canna lily or acquire one. You can also, if you know somebody who has one and they haven't divided it in a while, offer to help them to divide it at the end of the season when all of the flower heads are dry, like this, and you've saved all the seeds you can. Then you can cut the plant all the way back to the ground, use a spade, dig up the rhizomes, and divide them like you would if you were chitting potatoes, where you have little shoots and eyes in each piece. As long as each piece has 1 or 2 eyes on it, 1 or 2 shoots off of it, then you can replant it in the spring. Or if you live in zone 7 or higher, you can just plant it right back into the ground now, and it will grow again. And then you can save half of the arrowroot to eat, or your friend can keep half and you can keep half, or you can keep half and sell half and make a little money off of your garden. All kinds of options. It's a beautiful plant, very low maintenance. It needs 6 to 8 hours of sun. We have it here against our church's picnic shelter, facing directly south, so it gets plenty of sun. It loves this area, obviously. Anyway, I hope you'll try growing this plant if you've never done it before, and I hope you'll try saving seeds from one if you have seeds. I'm learning a lot and sharing it here, and I hope you'll come grow with me. Bye!